From author Brian K. Morris comes a tale of irreverent holiday horror, told with much inappropriate humor. Dr. Victor Frankenstein creates the spirit of giving himself. Ho, ho, ho. Santa-Stein, or the post-holiday Prometheus. Available at Amazon.com. Get your copy today.
Welcome to Clever Title Pending with your host, Brian K. Morris, independent publisher, freelance hybrid author, award-winning playwright, and former mortician's assistant. Don't send him title recommendations because Brian knows exactly what he's doing. So just sit down and look pretty as Brian K. Morris scrolls through your comments and plays with his mouse. Join him on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, for Evening Pandemonium and Moonlight Madness.
And welcome to the absolute last episode of Clever Title Pending for 2020. Anyway, it's December 29th, 2020, and thank you for joining us in this closeout of the 2020 season for this show. I want to thank everyone who supported us over the last year, and want to thank our panel to come. I think you're going to get a lot out of tonight. We also want to thank our friends who are listening to us on iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and Spotify. Thank you for making us your podcast of choice. And whether you're watching live or on the reruns, we appreciate your being here greatly. If you're watching on Facebook, please, if you like any part of this, give this video a like. Please share it if you could. And also please like the page you're watching it on, which will be the Rising Tide Publications page. Also, if you're on YouTube, please, again, give this a thumbs up if you dig what you're seeing and hearing. Also, please subscribe, whether it's the Geek Insider page or the Rising Tide Publications page on YouTube. And as always, we are sponsored by Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you, because it sure matters to your readers. So check out Jeffrey Hayes and all that he does for everyone. And we're powered by geekinsider.com. Please check out their wide variety of great broadcasts. And I'm really excited about tonight. Thank you all for being here. And I see the comments are starting already. We appreciate you all being here, and I appreciate these people for being here. We've got a special guest. We may not have Luke Stone on tonight. He is having internet difficulties, and the repairman won't be out till next week, which obviously he doesn't. The repairman doesn't realize how important this show could be to Luke's career. So anyway, the people who do understand are here tonight, and I'm going to unmute them, and we're going to bring them up here on the screen, and here they are, looking lovely and delightful. And we have a surprise guest star hanging over Cathy's shoulder there. But anyway, we are joined by author Cathy Jackson and her husband, Matthew Madkelt Jackson, who is also a book designer and cosplayer and general bone people. And below them is Donna Karlee Karleen, who's a publisher and novelist and regular broadcaster. And below me is McKayla Jade, who I've got to unmute. There we go. And she has a book that just dropped today on it.
Yes. Congratulations. Thanks.
Huzzah. And so what we're going to do is we're going to let you all have what we call the floor and all the dirt on it. And we'll start with McKayla. Please introduce yourself and tell everyone why you are so freaking awesome. Okay, take it away, McKayla.
Okay, I'm awesome because I just published a book today, or it just came live today. I write historical paranormal romance. You can find me all over the web. I get around. I have my website, authormckaylajade.com. I have Facebook, where you'll find me a lot of times. But yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, that's pretty good. And Donna Karlee Karleen, tell everyone about you.
Hey there, I'm Donna. I write crime drama, historical romance, fantasy, just about any genre you want. Several books out. My latest is Dragons and Wizards, available on Lulu and I believe Barnes and Noble.
Excellent.
And I'm just awesome. What can I say?
There you go. There you go. And also the co-host of the Friday Green Room on Uncle Carl's secret humor page, which isn't a secret very much. And also Uncle Carl's Drunken Rant.
Oh, co-host maybe, but let's face it, I own those shows.
What was left of Carl's fragile ego. But anyway, thank you, Donna. And here's the author, Cathy Jackson, and Mad Celt Matthew himself. Introduce yourself, folks.
Who do you want to be? I'm Cathy Jackson.
I'm Mr. Cathy Jackson.
She's Mr. Cathy Jackson. And wow. I don't know. I just love writing. So, and he gets to help me, which is awesome.
Yes.
He gets to create great covers and format books. We're both awesome together.
And where can people find you? He said, prompting.
Oh, what was that? Did you hear that? Did you hear that disembodied voice? Did you hear that? They can find me at Amazon, BookBub, Instagram, Twitter, mainly at Amazon. Check out all my books. I have 15 published novels, and I'm projected to publish 4 more books in 2021.
That's fantastic. And that's just what this show is about tonight. Let's be charitable and say that 2020 was kind of a crap storm for a lot of people. But I think that this group here has done quite a bit to.
Oh no, Brian froze.
So we'll all talk about the challenges. None of us came through without stars, I'm sure, but I think we're all in a position that we're looking forward to a good 2021. And I think that's what I want to share with everyone here. And folks, I've got some questions I'm going to ask, just to, like I told everyone earlier, just to make sure we at least touch on tonight. We're going to try that.
Stand target.
We'll see if we like it or not. But anyway, first of all, I want to, and whoever wants to start off before I assign duties here can take it. But when we all started 2020, 1 year ago today, almost a year ago today, who predicted murder hornets? Who predicted, the Miley Sharona, Miley Cyrus? Who predicted any of the monster stuff that has happened to the world this year? Where did you see yourself originally this time last year? Who wants to start? That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Well, I could tell you for Cathy, at this time last year, we already had our calendar filled with events and promotions that we were going to do and share and just really get excited about. And then none of it happened.
But we did have a few surprises this year. We had a few conventions pop up that was interesting. That wasn't on the calendar.
Right. A few events popped up that we didn't planned. Well, we didn't plan for them because we didn't think they were going to happen. But then towards the end of the year, then we had a few open up that we went to and really actually just had a good time and enjoyed it. is when around the time that people are finally just say, I'm done with staying home and not doing anything. So a few brave souls got out and started organizing events and opening them up free to the public, just come have fun, and a lot of people showed up.
I actually anticipated publishing 3 books last year, and I just did 1. So, and a lot of it was because I had two kids at home who were doing remote schooling. So that does take up a lot of time because it's a completely different schedule. Being a mom, going from a stay-at-home mom, but I'm a mom who's had that 8-hour block where I could write and do anything I needed to not only being a mom, but also being that sort of part-time teacher in that 8-hour block. So I did get 1 book published last year, but I was projecting 3. So I'm just bringing those over to this year.
Very good. Very good. All right. Donna, you want to take it?
First of all, I want to thank Rick Bradley for agreeing that I'm awesome.
He knows a good thing.
I have to say that this past year was probably not as hard on our household as others. We're both retired. We don't depend upon the sale of our books to get by. It's just sort of a great thing that happens. Was looking forward to our first con and didn't get to go to either one that we had signed up at. But, fortunately, the staying home, I live with a freaking hermit. We weren't going around a lot either. And when I did, it was on my own. So, this last year wasn't all that different. So it was just basically, okay, I'm not going to be able to get out and see the people and be in the crowds, be at the cons like before. And I'm not going to be there at my first table and see how well this actually sells face to face with people.
Okay. All right, McKayla, how about you?
Yeah. My story's kind of the same as Donna's. Like, I hadn't gone to a con to sell my book yet. I hadn't gone to a book signing yet, but I had a calendar full. And then as every one of them dropped off, I went, well, that's okay. I'll just do this, or I'll go here. And then they all dropped off. But they didn't just stop. It's postponed till next year. So it's still on the calendar, just next year. So for me, there wasn't really any change other than when some people said, well, I'm too stressed, I can't. I said, but I've got time, I can. And so I just went nuts writing. So nothing really changed for me other than I got 2 books published all by myself, because that's all I knew how to do. I knew how to do the publishing. I've never done the con thing.
Right. Well, I can say for myself, I'm in the same. I was in the same boat. I'm noted for my aggressive personal appearance schedule, and I'd actually cut back, but I didn't anticipate cutting back this much.
Right.
Why? And I'm sitting here. It's kind of ironic because I had I think 3 shows in the early part of the year, and McKayla and I spent time at one of them, and then the last one I was at before the COVID really hit, I was with Cathy and Matthew. So, I found it I just noticed that, Donna, and Donna was at, of course, with McKayla Con later on. But anyway, but yeah, I was kind of struck by, thinking, okay, this is going to end any minute now. And then about July, I'm starting to think, well, maybe not so quickly. But anyway, so I don't fall behind in some of the questions here. I am going to get back to some of mine. But Trevor Hawkins from YouTube is asking, now, here's the scenario. We've got all this time, and McKayla touched on it. When you found yourself with the sudden influx of a lot of downtime, what did that tell you about your work habits?
Well, for me, it takes me a bit to get started. But once I'm in it, I've got it. I just got to get that routine started.
All right. Cathy, Donna?
I'm still way too distracted, especially when the holidays come on World of Warcraft. Those come first. What can I say? But it's always going on up here, no matter what you're doing. So I'm the kind that's got to stew in my mind before I can even think about, even putting anything down.
All right. And Cathy, did you have a reply?
What was the question?
When
Been having a whole lot of
Sorry.
lot of downtime this year.
I really didn't have a lot of downtime, to be honest. Not really. I mean, we had those sort of spontaneous conventions come up, and the kids is remote learning. That it takes a lot, especially with two of them being in school but remote learning. And we've even got one that's still remote learning because they had graduated this year. And there's not really a lot of downtime. So, which is why a lot of the books that I was going to release got pushed up to this year. So downtime was usually just sleeping and recovering. Because I mean, Matt handled all the math for two different math subjects last year, which was great because I got to be the English science teacher at home. So we didn't really have a lot of downtime.
No, for me, it was like get up at 4 a.m., go to work, come back at 3 p.m., right? Teach 1 or 2 math lessons, help make supper, do the laundry, clean up, go to bed.
Yeah.
And for Cathy, it was the same way. It's like get up, get the kids up, get them moving, get them on their classes, right? Do the things around the house that need to be done, right? Help them through their classes, maybe tinker a little bit on the writing, right? Review, do revisions on a work in progress, and then, make dinner, do laundry, clean up, go to bed, repeat.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's, I'm sitting here listening to this, and it's, kind of interesting how, in a lot of ways, our lives didn't change. Like I'm a full-time author, so I tell people I've been practicing the social distancing thing since 2012. So it wasn't much of a change in my lifestyle. Let's see. Moving on. When did you really start to, when did you see things really start to go off the rails for you? Or did they? And what did you do to correct it? For instance, once I realized that I had all the show stock that wasn't going to be going anywhere, I had a sale online on my shows, and I managed to sell almost all of it in a week and a half. Of course, I waited till the stimulus checks were out too. So,
yeah.
Keep an eye on the news, folks. Anyway, but that helped me, rebuild, and keep my business going. Which I plowed back into advertising and doing more promotion like this, the broadcasting and such. But when did you realize that you were gonna have to change your strategy, maybe? As far as your business goes, and what did you do?
I think for me, it was when PennCon finally said, "Nope, we're rescheduling for next year. We're going to push it back to next year." Because that's for me, that was the latest one in the year that I had was September, and I thought, "There's no way they're going to cancel that. No way." And then when they postponed it, I was like, "Okay, all right, we got to figure this out." So it was then for me that I went, okay, all right, let's start thinking outside the box. Let's figure something out. Let's do a different marketing that nobody's ever done before.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Cathy, Donna?
I think I'm kind of the same way, McKayla. When I started seeing all the conventions canceled, and then started seeing the conventions that were so far out that had been planned canceled, and I was like, oh no. Right. Even now, conventions that organizers have talked to me about for 2021, some of them have actually canceled already. Yeah. So I'm like, it's a new I want to say like a new age or a new media or a new. Well, it is because we're so used to going to book conventions And before I started going to conventions, I was like, I want to stay home and I want to write. Well, now I'm staying home and writing, which is great, right? Except I don't have that 8-hour block to write because I'm also sort of being a teacher / mom at the same time, right? But you're right. It's a different paradigm, and you go from being the author who wants to stay at home, or I did anyway, to the author who loved to go to conventions, who doesn't have that sort of outlet to sell the book. So what do you do now? And several authors that I know got onto TikTok or other platforms to sell their books, and even diversified across platforms to sell their books. MeWe and a few of the other platforms that opened up. And they started selling their books on those different platforms. Hi, my name is, and this is what I sell. And these are some of the books I've got. And hey, I would love to talk to you, chat with me anytime. It really harkens back to a lot of the Facebook lives that I've seen, really harken back to, and I was thinking about this the other day, is the TV. You remember TV and the TV shows and the programming, and it kind of reminds me of stepping back about 20, maybe 30 years, right? What did advertisers do then? Well, they bought time, right? On television, right? So what do you do in this day and age? Well, you do everything you can across as many platforms as you can, right? To let people know who you are, right? Because if you go to Smashwords, there's millions of authors. So how are you going to make yourself stand out?
Yep.
Right? You go to TikTok. If that's your preferred thing to go to, you go to TikTok and you make videos. Jessica Cardwell, whom I truly, and I hope I'm not butchering her name, she went to TikTok and she started doing some stuff there, and she was awesome at it, And there's a bunch of authors that have moved to TikTok or other platforms to get their name out. And it's possible that if they went to conventions last year, that's something they wouldn't have thought to do.
Yep.
So it's really just thinking outside the box. Well, we're here now. What do we do? And
when was that when we decided that, okay, we need to change how we're going to do this?
Wow, for me it was like March when they called school and they're like, okay, everybody's staying home now.
Right, but
March of last year.
But that didn't affect how you did business. When did it start?
Not business. No, that would have been like June.
Yeah.
Because for me, I got to take care of the kids first. That's what I do. I'm a mom. That's what I do. And it's really one of those things that comes first for me. So it was getting the kids settled, getting into a routine before I even thought about going back to doing anything with book related, really. And then that sort of got into a schedule, and then school was over, right?
Right. So then about June is when we started looking at, okay, let's look at platforms. Let's look at doing sales online. Let's look at doing specials and deals and videos and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Donna, how about you?
Well, we had, I was kind of concentrating on my new book, The Seduction of Lily Monroe. I had a couple of cons. I had a lot of local things. Cafe 13 supports local writers, and they will let you come in and do a book signing, and they will sell your book. They've got a rack there to sell your book, and they take nothing out of it. It's just to promote you. The library has local authors group where you can bring your books in and sell them and sign them. You and I had something scheduled for writing at the local seniors club, which unfortunately not only did that go bust, but they had to close down the center because they were just getting started, and since they couldn't have anything there, it's no longer functioning. So it's like, okay, what now? Then I got all my editor stuff tail and said, okay, let's start thinking about the next book so that when we go next year, I'll have 2 books. And so we started working on editing Dragons and Wizards.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I have to agree that, when I started seeing conventions like falling by the wayside, my wake-up call was SalukiCon.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the last ones. It's in Carbondale, Illinois, and Cathy and I usually go there, along with Amy Hale, Jason Nugent, Kenny Sills, and a number of other top-notch creators, and of which I am not one, but I'm trying to be humble. But no, that was like in September, late September usually, and they rescheduled for like the following spring of 2021, and when they canceled that one. That was the one that like, oh crap, this may be serious after all. So that's when I started doing the broadcasting more often, to the point where at times I was telling people I'm getting sick of seeing me on the screen. That's my barometer. When I'm sick of seeing me, then it's time to pull back for at least a little while. So given all that, and this is the last question I'll save till the end of the show. But my next question is, and then we'll get to yours. Actually, I do want to get to one. Becca Colgrove. Hey, Brian K. Morris. Becca, what is going on with you right now? I'm hosting a show. I've got these wonderful people on here. And McKayla and Becca, I'm glad you're here. I am so glad you're here. And happy birthday to your mom. But anyway, and yes, and Cookie is in the next room, ignoring me, so it's all good. Becca's one of our regulars from PenCon, and we love you, hon. But what have you done? Given all that has happened to you, and given that you're kind of recalibrating your business now, what have you done to set yourself up for a better 2021?
I can go first.
Okay.
I keep saying I'm going to do a newsletter. I have it all set up now. All I have to do is click send. So I've got that set up. I've got my list of shows for next year set up. It's not as big as last year's list, but it's there. I've got them. I've got contingency plans in case those fall through. And I started a marketing thing that I think is going to take off, that I'm going to continue this year. So let me see. What else did I write down here? I got lots of stuff here.
You're prepared. I like this.
I am. I have to write it down or I forget. The other thing I'm doing is networking with people on the phone and through email. One of the things that I'll tell you was kind of a secret because I was so jazzed about it. It just got me. I write historical paranormal romance. So to me, that says medieval, which is swords and the like, So one of my favorite catalogs is called Medieval Collectibles. I don't know if you've ever heard of it before, but check it out. And one of the things that brought to mind was Nick Tockard's book about swordplay. And he teaches you all about swordplay. So I looked at their book section because I noticed they had one. And I thought, that book ought to be with the swords and knives that you sell. It's not. So, of course, I sent him an email. That was all it took, an email. They had 3 books on their whole book list. And I said, why is your book list so small? And they said, there's no reason. Would you like us to put your book on it? Absolutely. How the heck easy is that? Just reach out. And so it's the same with like librarians in your area. If they don't know you exist, they can't promote you. So it's on my list, email them, call them on the phone. They're not doing anything else,
That's what I like about our local book library. Whenever they find out I have a new book out, they buy 2 copies, one to go in the regular shelves and one to go in the archives.
Awesome.
Nice. That's beautiful. How about you, Cathy?
Sorry. I was listening to everybody else.
Okay. Take notes, Cathy. Take notes. What have you done in this year, given all your challenges, that will set you up for future success?
Okay, I got this one. I got it.
I feel better about myself all of a sudden.
Right. Okay, so like I said, the book releases I was going to do last year got pushed back to this year, and that was it was actually kind of a blessing. I've neglected to mention that part. And also manuscripts that I had written years ago. I pulled out to kind of, give fresh eyes to. Because you know yourself, if you write a book, right, and you let it sit for 2 or 3 years and you go back and look at it, it's like, wow, this is great. This is really good. There's a lot of work to be done, but this is really great. And I was able to pull out 2 manuscripts, 2, I think it was 2 manuscripts that I had written. Wow, 2014
times.
probably, right? And those are going to be part of my releases next year.
Yep.
Nice.
And it wasn't so much writing as going back and looking at what I'd written before that I really, really liked, right? And going, you know what? It's time. It's really time. So let's take these and it's all about skewing it. You could think of 2020. Yes, it was a horrible year, but it was also a kind of reloading, recalibrating year. It's that year where you sit back and you go, okay, right?
Yeah.
Right. And how can we do things better? How can we be better? And I'm actually in the process of setting up 4 different book releases for 2021 because I figure most of the conventions probably aren't going to be there. So that's actually my year to kind of go back to my roots. When I started as an author, I did like so many book releases with so many authors. And there was a bunch of authors who really just brought me on board with them, which was a gift. I mean, that's just straight up, it's grace. They didn't have to, but they did. And now I get to, in 2021, return that favor, and it's all because maybe the conventions aren't there, but let's go back to Facebook parties. Let's go back to Facebook, where you invited your friends, you invited your readers and your everything else and said, hey, let's have fun. And so I'm actually looking for authors. I'll be looking for authors soon to, when I go to release my books, to do a spot, 30 minutes, 1 hour, whatever, on a particular day that I release the books. Hey, come promote yourself. Talk about you. Talk about what you write. Talk about yourself, your likes, and come just tell people about you. Because honestly, book releases are not about me. They are more about whoever is at the release. I mean, yeah, I want to sell books. That's kind of why we do this, right? Because you have a book that you wrote that you want others to read. But for me, it's a chance to go, here's McKayla Jade, here's Donna Karlee Karleen. That's really tiny font. Here's Brian K. Morris, right? These people are excellent authors in the genres they write in. Now you get to learn why from them. And that's really, really awesome. So in 2021, I get to go back to where I was at in 2014, 2015 and say, ta-da, look at these people. You use that phrase, Brian, was it rising tide?
The rising tide raises all ships.
All ships. Exactly. And that's always been, since I became an author and decided to put myself out there, that's always been my thing, is going, these are these people who write this stuff. Get to know them. Get to know their works, right? Follow them and just stay on board with them and see where they go and just follow in their adventure. So 2020 was a recalibrating for 2021 to make 2021 kind of the setup for the best year. And it's going to be a great one. I have no doubt to that.
I think you're right. And I got to say, to anyone who's invited to a party like this, a launch party, say yes. Oh, yeah. It is a lot of fun. And, because I was part of Cathy's this year. And that's where she learned the titles of her next 6 books.
True story. Because her latest release was written on his heart, and during Brian's segues, he would constantly misname this title of this book, and then so it's written on her heart, it's written on their heart, it's written on our heart. Hey, guess
Santa Stein's heart.
Written on Santa Stein's heart. Written on Skyman's heart.
I know what I'm doing.
Volcana.
Written on Volcana's heart. Right? So the next 20 books have already been named by Brian K. Morris.
Yeah. So I'm 3 of the 4 that she's going to be writing this year because I just got so excited, and I kept forgetting to look at where I had written down in my book what the name of your book was. So.
I was there for that. That was awesome. I kept going, nope, that's not it either.
See, I'm living proof that anyone can make this crap work. So
We love you.
I love you too. That was so much fun. And of course, we've got our cheering section. Go Cathy. Go Cathy. Go Cathy. So now, Cindy Kip, our chief interrogator here, we're glad you're here. CKOEPP.com for that great newsletter. This is a good question. Do you guys make resolutions? Like, do you have a resolution for 2021,
no.
particularly about your business? I
2021.
see no from Donna.
No, I do, but I don't. My husband and I started something a few years ago. And you know how you always do that? I'm going to lose 10 pounds. I'm going to lose 20 pounds. And you never make your goal. And you're like, forget it. I'm not doing it. It's done. So we figured out if we just said, I'm going to do better than I did yesterday. Not better than he did. Not better than she did. I'm going to do better than I did yesterday. And it worked. We started losing weight. We started eating better. We started drinking less soda, eating less crap. And so then I started using it for my writer stuff, especially when this pandemic hit and there was so much I couldn't do. So I said, well, I did a little bit yesterday on this. Let me do a little bit more. Or I didn't get my newsletter done yesterday. Let me do it again today. And okay, I'm going to do it again today. And I'm going to do it until I get it. So that works. I don't really use a resolution per se, but I'm going to do better than I did yesterday.
That's good. And I don't do resolutions. I do revolutions. So there.
I was actually going to say that.
Were you really? I'm sorry. That's written on his heart. Available on Amazon. I have a lot to atone. But I'm sure you'll say it better, Cathy. No, well, it's like the last resolution I made was in 2012. I promised myself I was going to make more off of my writing income, because I was a part-timer. I was a freelance writer at that time. And I was going to make more, more money at my writing. And it came true because that was the year I got fired.
There you go.
See, this could happen to you, kids. So go ahead and make those resolutions. You never know.
Well, and that resolution thing, it rolls into, if you're struggling, just do one more. Like, let's say you're at a show when these shows get started, and you're like, man, I'm not really selling much. Talk to one more person. I don't care if you don't sell a book. Talk to one more person. Whether it's you sold a book or you got a mentor or you gained a friend or gained a reader, talk to one more person. Mm-hmm. Say one more time, will you buy my book? I promise it'll work.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. That's true. And nothing else. Networking is huge.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I wouldn't know anyone on this panel if I hadn't reached out and said, "Hi, I'm Brian." And it's through the books I believe we've all met.
Mm-hmm.
So if nothing else, you get a better class of friends than the layabouts who tell you can't do this sort of crap. So. Ryan Permison says, what is one of Cathy's books titled? Cathy, aside from these several dozen that I've mentioned.
Dun, dun,
Wait for it.
dun,
I have.
Do I run across the room and okay, there we go.
dun, 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 dun,
And then Britt
dun,
Goss Hart.
dun, dun. Some of the book titles, As You Wish,
I feel
Bloom,
challenged here.
Blossom, Broken, Bound, Betrayed. One of my favorites, 5 Coffees, 5 Days,
There you
and
go.
5 Months.
Beautiful cover, though. Beautiful, beautiful cover. Are you done?
Never so humorous.
It's good to have you voter with
Yours to love.
You're still remember that one.
Play, Yours Forever. There's Jericho's Walls.
One of Brian's favorites.
I was going to say, Brian likes that.
Brian's all-time favorite is Underneath My Innocence.
I don't think he's ready yet.
Yes, he
Oh,
has.
that sounds dirty.
It's written on his heart.
And her heart and their heart.
And our hearts.
our hearts and
Sandstein's heart.
Sandstein's and
Volcana's heart.
Man's, yeah.
That'd be a crossover. You should do a crossover. That'd be hilarious.
There we go. No, but Ryan, I will say that Cathy is the very first romance author I actually could finish her book. And I have tried reading like some big names, just to see if I could do it. But Cathy's was the one that won me over. So, and it was yours to love.
Does that mean you have not read my historical romance?
I mean, you're on the list.
It's okay, Donna. He ain't read mine either.
I'm looking at 2 piles in my office. No, I apologize. That's 3. And they are made up of my friends who have written books. And
do you want me to show you my stack? I'll show you mine if you show me yours.
Oh my!
I'd love to hear those words.
Yeah, my stack down in the library. Yeah. That's okay.
Yeah, well, I plan to, Don. I need to get your books. I really do. That's on me. But no, I've got like 2 stacks that are almost up to my knee.
I wouldn't doubt it. Mine's the same way. This
one right now by some guy.
Oh, he's
some random guy.
I think this may be the last book I ever read. But anyway.
I would like to back up, though, and answer a question that you asked the 2 of them and not me.
Oh, I thought, yes. Well, I think I asked you, but you didn't.
No, about what was good this last year.
Oh, yes. Yes.
What was good this last year was that I met you, Brian. And then we had McKayla Con, and I met McKayla and all the great people there. Awesome. I met Ted Davis of Ted Davis Artistry.
Mm-hmm.
Who did this my book. And then he and Carl now have a cigar show together. It's mainly been, as you say, networking and raising all those ships this past year for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That is great. See, that was worth waiting for. Rather than the fact I can't remember titles or get read.
That's why he makes them up. He's like, yeah, it's this one.
I'm just creating more work for other people.
Right?
I'll be grateful.
It was so funny. So each time he's misnamed the book, I just write it down. And I write it down like, look, Cathy, you got the next 4 or 5 in the series already titled for you.
I'm creating work for people. I'm
That's true.
Good.
That's true.
I'm telling you. Give me one of your books. I'll keep you busy for years. Anyway. And Nick Tockard, glad to see you. Thanks for coming out and all of your work to improve 2020. And I say that I say thank you, and I say that for all these people here who've done a lot to make 2020 awesome. And Bill Sargent says, good evening, Brian and Clever Morians. I thought that this was the green room for a minute when I saw Donna Karlee Karleen and author McKayla Jade.
Hey, you can find us there.
That's true. This coming Thursday, there's going to be a New Year.
Yeah, there will be much of this. Much of this.
Yes. That'll start about 4:00 in the afternoon.
Ooh,
and then I don't know, it's 6 or 7 Central. I don't know. Whenever the camera starts.
Just find us.
It's fine.
I hope your liver is in good working condition. That's all I got to say.
I got a good Viking liver. It's okay.
There you go.
It's a liver Viking.
Yes. Yeah. And Cindy Kemp says, if the 2020 shenanigans continue into 2021, what might you do differently? Well, you mean it's not going to reset the clock at 20?
Right. No kidding.
Huh? So anyway, that's a great question, Cindy. What will you be doing differently this year that you didn't do last year? Are there things that you haven't tried? Let me take a little further because we have kind of touched on it. But what do you want to do this year to forward your business in 2021 that you haven't tried yet? Now we'll ask Cathy before she forgets. Number love.
Business. You was talking about the business.
Business. Okay, sorry.
Unless there's something else you want to tell us, and we are marked as
Yeah,
adults only on this.
2020 rule.
2020 rule, baby. Right.
I want to redo. I'm calling a mulligan on this one. It's
I've
then
already talked
also
about what I said.
2021, 2022. Is anyone writing these titles down?
Yeah, no kidding.
Okay, in 2021, what are you doing different? There we go. Now it's
What are you
official.
doing different?
I've already
book,
I've already talked about it.
Yeah, you missed it. She's done.
I'm done.
I
Was
mean,
it?
in
You
your
can do it
business
again.
that you haven't tried already, other than releasing
Haven't
new
mentioned
books.
already.
You're not getting out of it, Cathy.
I'm gonna fit. I've already got written on her heart done. It's actually back from the editor, and I want to finish up. I know how to finish up the third book in that trilogy, so I'm gonna finish up that book.
Right, written on Santa Sign's heart.
Right. Also, we were coming back from Fairview Heights, Illinois, the other day, and we were all just spitballing, all six of us. We got 4 kids, right? And we're all in the van, and we were just randomly throwing things out. We're very there's a word.
Eclectic.
We're very eclectic, and we tend to just say whatever we're thinking, so it just falls out of our mouth. So I had actually told the story. I'm not going to tell it, but Connor's listening. Our oldest, as I'm actually sitting in the back seat, he's listening. He's like, "Is that true?" And I'm like, "No, it's not true."
Oh,
But he was listening the whole. Yes, we were doing Christmas trivia.
doing Christmas trivia on the way home from our trip. And I was just reading off these random trivia questions and asking the kids to answer. And Cathy comes up with this brilliant
It'll be a book.
answer.
I've even got a title, actually.
Brilliant answer. And our oldest, kind of pulls his headphones back a little bit and puts his book down and goes, "Is that real?
No.
Where did you come up with it? Where did you find out about that?" And she goes, No, son, it's not real. Let
I
me
just made it up.
Isn't that what we do? I mean, that's
Right?
the thing.
professional
Say,
liar.
are your children unaware of what you do?
Right? Right. So that's going to be written this year
That will be written this year. Yeah.
I'm
That's going to
sorry.
be a good one.
for our Christmas 2021 release.
Which whenever that is.
Whenever
Whatever that
will be.
is, right?
How about you, Donna?
Keep on keeping on. I can't think of anything really that we're going to do differently than we did last year if we can't get out.
That's true. We'll have more McKayla cons. We'll have a Southern McKayla con. We'll have to have a Cathy con.
That's right.
We'll
We
have a
threatened to
Cathy-
do that a year ago.
Yep.
Well, we now that we are no longer furry parents, we do plan on doing some more traveling if we can get out and around too. So,
And Cookie
Sad.
gets most weekends off, so
There you go.
well, that's only an hour away. I mean, that one's easy enough
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah.
that's true. That's true. That's true.
But we're thinking of places where we can actually be gone more than a one overnight at a time.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking of other in Illinois, places where we can actually go out to eat.
Iowa.
Not anywhere in Danville.
Really?
Yeah, they're pretty much open as long as you wear a mask in, wear it if you go to the bathroom, and then wear it when you leave.
Okay. All right. Yeah,
So
because
Danville it is.
most of Illinois has been under a severe lockdown. So,
Yeah, it's fun.
yeah, isn't it though? How about you, Kayla?
I will probably do a whole lot more YouTube videos. My thing with those is I always feel like I have to do my makeup, I have to do my hair, I have to look a certain way. And I think I'm gonna go a little more like on the run. Hey, I got 15 minutes. I'm gonna give you a live Facebook video or a live YouTube video sort of thing, and just like it is what it is, just to keep my
That's
fans
really
updated. Yeah, and it's one of those. I always said I wouldn't show my day job in with my author stuff. I would always keep it separate. But there's so much to do and so much to get done. It's just like, you know what? It is what it is. So,
And it's real.
yeah, it is.
It'll resonate with people because of the genuineness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully.
People
So,
like that.
and that's something that I'll get out of my comfort zone to do it. So
Matthew.
so I'm hoping that like you said, yeah, it'll resonate with people, and it'll get me more exposure. It'll definitely get more videos made. The quality maybe not so good, but you know, I know, Brian. I'll be more like, I'm in my truck. Here I am. You know, I'm going from stop to stop. This is my lunch break. Here's what's going on.
Yeah. Well, you know, like what Cathy said, you know, it would resonate. I read a story, and I cannot remember who it was, but it was a romance author who used to have like this Martha Stewart type set, and was always so mannered and so formal in her YouTube shows, and she was doing them live. Well, then she was doing them from her kitchen, and one day the pipe in her sink burst.
Oh, no.
And rather than stop the thing, she started trying to stop the leak. And so water's going everywhere. Oh. She's a mess. She is swearing like a sailor on leak. And her subsequent views just like shot through the roof.
Oh, I think I remember that.
Yeah, so break a pipe or something. But no, but it's just the idea that people see how you are.
Yeah, what it really takes to get those books to them. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, you know, broadcasting has not hurt me a whole lot. You know, especially once I stopped doing it every day. But
hey, you were in my pocket most of those days, okay? So it wasn't bad.
Not at all. I'm glad it was good for you too. But no, but it has, you know, that sort of thing, you know, thinking about things to do, you know, it's inspired me.
Yeah.
So, you know, yes, I have a merch line. It's down at the bottom in the description. But anyway, Ryan Permisson says, congratulations, McKayla, on the new book.
Thank you. That is awesome. It's my free. Thank you. It is my first official indie published one. Broke away from the publisher.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah.
And Cindy Kep asks, do your stories reflect any of this year's shenanigans?
Mine don't, only because they're historical. I might throw a Black Plague in there somewhere, but so maybe.
Well, as far as Cathy's, all her stuff was written, you know, last year or earlier. So no, this didn't happen.
Yeah, I have to make the. I have to say that the majority of my stories have been written quite some time ago. My Hunter's Ridge, I wrote like 7 stories in 3 years in my Hunter's Ridge that only have 3 published now. Creeped myself out on number 7 because it's really darn good and creepy. And so that started my Beth and Hill, and there's 7 stories on there, plus all my little short stories that a couple I'm hoping somebody might be interested in a pulp fiction, pulp reality thing, maybe. So I'm kind of just really resting on my laurels here because everything's written. And that's why this 8th book on Hunter's Ridge that I've been writing for like 6 months now.
Well, I'm sitting here thinking I've written some stuff this year, but none of it's contemporary.
Yeah, it's hard to write pandemic when you're not in contemporary.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the closest I've come this year was I wrote a comic book script that I've pulled from the publisher, but it takes place like a few months before the Spanish flu pandemic of 1918. So of course I get 100 years off. 100 years off. Permisson says, do you find yourself binge watching more than writing, or the opposite? Are you doing less binge watching than you did?
For me, it's writing, because I don't watch a lot of movies just because I can't sit still. I mean, my head's got to be in that movie for me to sit still and watch it.
Now, see, I have tinnitus, so I have either the TV or a movie on my second monitor going all the time, which is actually kind of good because then you see something, you can see reruns and see new things as you're doing something else. And a show is always new, even if I've seen it 5,000 times. But yeah, something's always got to be playing. And no, I can't do the music because the music will stop me because I'm gonna either get up and dance or I'm gonna have to sing to it, and then I forget what else I'm doing.
It's all down from there.
How about you, Cathy?
Oh, binge watching.
We have binge watched
Oh,
our
dude.
TV dead.
No, right now we're on Bridgerton. Bridgerton, I was actually super surprised at because I sort of drug my feet actually watching it. And it's one of those things that everybody's watching. And I'm not a bandwagon person. So I'm like, that's great for you. And the other day I turned it on just to see. And I'm like, oh, Matt's got to see this. So I got through an episode and a half. And then Matt came home and I'm like, just check this out. And he was like, this is actually pretty good. Which is high praise for Matt.
It's all right. It's all right.
Right?
Yeah. So Bridgerton, oh man. A little Jane Austen, a little, what else was there? Pride and Prejudice meets Little Women meets Lady Chatterley, and throw in a little alt history for flavor, right? Because the music is actually, they hide it well, but it's actually contemporary music. They put in this Regency period piece, right? But it's all done in, the what was the term they used for that? All this.
Oh,
sorry.
There you go. And it's got a lot of comedy in it too, which is funny.
There's some comedy in it,
which is funny.
And there's drama because it's all drama.
Yeah,
yeah. It's actually kind of quirky and like. All right, I'll ride along and see where this goes.
But kudos to Julia Quinn for getting it sold to Netflix. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you know she wasn't even trying? She didn't even try. They came to her.
Really?
Yes. I just read that article today. I was stunned. She was in a Starbucks writing her next book when she got the call from her agent. And her agent was like, hey, they want to take this to Netflix. And she was like, are you serious? Yeah, she had no idea. She never figured that series would go to movie. So she never pitched it. Yep.
That's
Can you imagine just writing your next book and, you get a phone call.
We now got to get pictures on my books.
Yeah.
I go to Starbucks. I used to go to Starbucks.
Before they closed. Right? Mostly we're binge watching a lot of cooking and baking shows.
Oh, dude, Food Network has seen too much of us. We've seen too much of Food Network.
You binge watch something so much that when you turn on the TV, it automatically goes to that program and starts running the next episode.
Right.
It doesn't even wait for you
to cue it up.
It doesn't. It just starts it right off.
Do you want to watch the next season of Chopped? Sure, season 41. Let's go.
Oh, that sounds like my YouTube list. That's been my kryptonite this year. But I know so much more about the law and sovereign citizens, First Amendment auditors, and marble racing than most of my peers.
Marble racing.
Have you not?
I've seen marble racing.
Yeah,
I love marble racing, and I've just been introduced to
I bet on
diecast
glasses.
Yeah. As for the, I don't really have a favorite team yet, but I'm still working.
You not seen marble racing?
Sorry, I've been writing. Oh.
Well, I've been watching marble racing instead of writing. So anyway, Ryan Permisson has a question for Cathy. How easy or hard is it to write in your genre? How big is the audience of that genre? You write inspirational romance.
Huge-ish.
Huge-ish. It's very long. Okay. I started.
This is not Nevermind the Furthermore, but no, go ahead.
Tends to list a little to the left.
Yeah. Tell us about this huge, girthy genre that you write in.
Oh dear.
Kathy's like, I signed up for the show. What was I thinking?
Oh dear. I started out writing, I guess you call it clean, inspirational romance, Christian romance. And then it sort of progressed to Underneath My Innocence, which is not at all. Because I wanted to challenge myself to write something that was completely opposite of what I was writing. And I think I did a great job of it. Thank you very much.
You write what you know.
You know.
Right, what
That's
you know.
just right.
That's what they say.
Whoa.
And then Jericho's Walls, which was it was kind of fun.
Brian liked
it. Fun.
It's fun.
Brian liked it. It was very well written.
Thank you. But then I kind of went back to my clean Christian roots with Written on His Heart. So, I mean, it's fun because as authors, we get to writing so much that we find ourselves challenging ourselves because, well, I myself got into like a writing rut. It was sort of not necessarily formulaic, right? But I knew what I was writing all the time. And I was like, I want to write something different. I want to publish something different. So that's where Jericho's Walls and then Underneath My Innocence came in. And then I wanted to go back to it. But with this book that we were talking about in the van, that my oldest son was like, is that really a thing? No, it isn't, sweetie. You know, I found myself going, you know what? I know I could write it any way that I wanted to.
It'd be hilarious.
But I think I'm going to write it in a particular style just to see if I can do it.
So you can do it.
And I'm going to do it that way, only to challenge myself to see if I can. And I already know I can. But you always want to improve yourself as a writer. You always want to challenge yourself to see if you can be, or maybe it's just me, to be different or better or even stronger, right? And to even write out of a comfort zone, right? Because there's so much to be found in writing in some place that's new and it's different, right? And I think that's where a lot of growing comes in, is not staying, for me, is not staying stuck and not necessarily stuck, but not residing in one genre, but just really branching out and seeing, like we used to be called Fascination, which I renamed it to Sapphira, right? That's a romance. It's more of a what do we term that as? Do you remember?
It's a gothic paranormal.
Yeah, it's a gothic PNR, which I've never published yet, which is not a clean Christian romance, right? It's not an erotic romance. It's a paranormal gothic romance, something completely different. Think Gary Oldman's Dracula, somewhere along that vein. And it's beautiful and it's tragic and it's
dark.
It's dark.
It is super
and it is romantic and it is beautiful and it is and I wrote that back in 2014.
I think the term you're looking for is gothic.
Is gothic. It's gorgeous. And challenging yourself as a writer to write outside of what you normally do almost forces you to look at what you normally write from a completely different perspective. And when you go back to it, you're like, oh, okay, so this is how I can improve this. And I think that's great. I mean, I really look forward to Sapphira because it's a dark, gritty, almost gruesome, I guess, not gruesome. But it's such a dark story, but it has such a beautiful, beautiful ending to it. With so much hope and love.
Wow.
Don't spoil it.
I'm not.
Now, answer the question.
Yeah, you need to publish 5 books, and I can give you an idea which one it needs to be. Now,
How
Ryan,
easy or hard is it to write? Well, books actually come to me fully formed. So it's just a matter of taking the time to sit down. If I actually had 3 weeks, I could push out an 80,000 word novel, which I can do it in 3 weeks. I've done it many times. That's not bragging because it's as Matt would call it, a manic episode, right?
Yeah.
She'll have these quiet times when she's just kind of stewing about an idea, got this thing going on. I'm here, I'm there, I'm doing my, housework with kids, playing games, traveling, whatever we're doing. And then suddenly at 2 a.m. it's in a week she's got a fully a novel done. And then another week she's refining it, and then she's sending it off to the editor and getting it back in another week. And 3 weeks she has a book published. So yeah.
It's crazy, and some of my inspirational readers have actually come across the lines with me to like Jericho's Walls, right? Even some of the spicier stuff in the 5 series, right? Mm-hmm. Underneath My Innocence, they've actually went right along with me to that, and then back to Written on My Heart, on His Heart.
Now see, now you got a 6th one,
right? Right, and some of those have just came right along, and I'm blessed and I'm thankful. I'm grateful that they have gone, you know what, you've decided to take this route or you've decided to write this. Well, I'm going to read it because you wrote it. And that's a dedicated reader right there. I mean, I do the same thing with Gina Showalter and Christine Feehan. They write different sorts of books, right? I'm still right along there with them. And it's just because I love their writing style. I love how their imagination and how they put things to page. Yeah. So I think that's it, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
I think we got it covered. Although someone here has a real good answer to Ryan's question. Author C. Jackson says, how hard or easy is it to write in my genre? It's actually very easy to write, as the book is usually fully formed before I write. She does it just like you, Cathy. It's a matter of finding the time to write. My audience for the genres I write are varied. I began in clean Christian, decided to write steamier romance. Yes, she did, Jericho's Walls. Some of my readers came with me through all the books. I had a joke there, but I'm saving everyone from that. But anyway, Bill Sarter would like to know this is for the whole panel. What will be your 2021 plan B if the conventions don't come back anytime soon?
I think we already discussed that.
Was that? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay. For me, I've got a couple of marketing ideas that nobody has seemed to use yet. So I think I would capitalize on those and run with them like crazy.
Run fast, run hard.
Yes. And I have figured out, like, I wanted to keep it like close to the vest. Like, I didn't want to tell anybody. And then I figured out a couple of these are pretty dang hard to put together and to get going. So a lot of people just drop off. They're like, oh, that takes work. Oh, never mind. No. So I was like, I'll tell you what it is then. The first one is the door hangers. Some people were like, yeah, let me send you some stuff. And we'll put together basically a coupon bag. And in it I put, there I got you, didn't I? And in it I put this flyer that said, hey, this is what this is. This is from local and non-local authors and artists who work independently. Check out their stuff. Maybe just cruise their website. See if there's a product, a book or a painting or a craft that they do that you would like to buy. And I put it out just before Christmas. I did 2 runs in 2 different neighborhoods. And so we're kind of waiting to see feedback, because they say the theory is you got to put it out 8 times before that person will actually pick it up and look at it. Because you know yourself, you come home, you get something on your door, you tend to throw it away. But if it's a bag full of something, then you're like, well, I'll throw it on the counter and I'll look at it later. On average, it takes a person 8 times to really look at what's in that bag. So that's
That's cool.
So if it all falls apart as far as cons go, I'm not stopping.
Yeah, I'd have to say the plan is the same as this year. Just keep on keeping on, and chatting up on shows like Brian's, on our show, anybody else whom I'm talking on, and getting through my friends who are saying to their friends, "Hey, my friend Donna wrote this book. It's great. You need to get one too, because I'm not loaning you mine. I told my friends this. You're not loaning this out. You have to tell them to buy it."
That's good. Yeah.
There you go. I like that. I like that. All right, and let's see here. And thank you, Ryan Permisson, and thank you to everybody who has been making comments all night long and has been carrying on different conversations in the chat. We do appreciate it. And let's see. Hokey jokes are better than the alternatives, says Cindy Cap. Cindy has been giving us some jokes, and
Mhm.
I've not been
been
reading
reading
them.
them,
I
yeah.
should go back. Let's see.
No, that's okay.
Why do you need a jeweler on New Year's Eve? Now, this is information we can all use to ring in the new year. See,
I like jewelry.
there we go. Keep your favorite author jewelry. There we go. Then let's see. Let's go through the list here, and let's see. Here we go. Teresa Dunn has a question. You are all great writers. Thank you. Where do you see yourself in 10 years? Do you see the world changing for the better with your writing? And do you think people will be reading them? Thank you, Teresa. This
Those two.
has evidently stumped our panel. Donna, I see your brow is knitted. I'm ready for it.
My audience per se has, I'd say, quadrupled in just this last year alone through knowing you people, and through talking about it on my Facebook page. So I look for more people to read them. Changing the world for the better. I'm not saying that, but especially if they get seduction of Lily Monroe, there's a lot of things in there from a certain Asian book, shall we say. And I may make some people's sex lives better.
Then you've
Here
changed
I
their
am.
world. McKayla, how about you?
Probably doing the same thing I'm doing, just having more books out. I don't see much changing other than because I love what I do. That's the thing. Like there isn't a part of it that I'm like, you know what? No. So yeah, just keep on keeping on.
All right. Cathy, Matthew, what about you? 10 years from now.
World peace.
Say what?
World peace.
World peace. Okay.
I'm gonna conquer the world.
Cathy will,
Look on your face. It's so awesome.
Wow.
Kathy will be
10
taking
years
over
from
the
now.
planet, and she'll be ruling it with an iron fist. So y'all better get in line now.
I
Okay.
thought she used wit. Okay.
You can always hope. And Ryan, we did cover this one earlier, but that's a great question. Thank you. And Nicholas Anthony Tucker says, thank you for that suggestion, McKayla. Medieval Collectibles is on my next week's project.
Yep.
Nice.
First person I thought of.
There we go. And I think we may have answered this already, except me. How many works in progress do you have in the works moving into 2021? Now, Cathy, you've got 225 books. Most of them
200.
generate 90.
Yep,
So-
225 books.
Yeah. So, Donna, McKayla, what about you two? Now, I know McKayla's got one, at least one release this first quarter, but
Yeah, we're hoping for March. The only person holding it up it would be me. So March it is. It's going to be March. I'm not because I start back to my day job in March. So it's one of those. Let's get it done. That way I can focus on the next book. So that'll be book 3 in the series. So I've got 4, 5, and 6 going. So I've got 3 going.
all right.
Oh, as for publishing, I did just get good news from my editor. I finally turned over a story that I was not wanting to give him because I thought I was going to hear, oh, yeah, this needs a major rewrite. And it doesn't. So that will probably be going into the works to come out around June. As for this other one that's been fighting me, um, it's the same thing that happened with my book 7 of Hunter's Ridge. I really creeped myself out with a couple of scenes that had to be written in that way, and then put away as if okay, no, I got to get back to some normalcy now. When you're writing about crazed killers, sometimes it's difficult.
That's true. That's true. Carl Witzman says he's not throwing his back out to carry all of Donna's books. And Cindy Kemp says, hey, don't read this, Grant. What did the little champagne bottle call his father? Pop. All right. And one show that I am hoping does happen this year is Heroes for Kids Con. It's going to be on July 17th, 2021 in Perryville, Missouri. And praying all goes well so we can see everyone in person. We are
Yay.
Yes, absolutely. Let's do
Pay
it.
attention, Carl.
Yeah, I was going to say Donna, Carl, a him. And Rick Bradley says, I know if I hadn't put myself out there and fool you, Cathy and Amy, I wouldn't be a published writer. I highly agree. Talk to you people and put yourself out there. And apparently author Cathy Jackson's coming clean tonight. Dude. I've binged more shows this year than the last 5 years. And says Cathy, Trevor Hawkins says, Cathy, you should go write The Bride of Sanderstein or The Missed Clause. I see a collab coming up. Thank
you, Trevor.
Cathy's going, no, you don't. Anyway, Donna has the television on constantly for background noise, but she barely pays attention to it, says Carl. And here we go. My favorite Cathy Jackson book is written on Jericho's walls. I heard all about a Brian show. As well you should. It's a good thing I've got a strong ego, people.
It's Brian just promoting his friends in the best way possible.
Rising tide, Cathy. What can I tell you? Sometimes it sloshes over the boat. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, secret, says Carl Witzman. I can hear Donna laugh in real life about 8 seconds before a joke hits, so I know when the funny bits are coming up. That's why I say watch this with someone you love. This way you get advance warning.
I say that about Underneath My Innocence. Read it with someone you love.
Oh, there you go. There you go. And let's see. And there you go. And Lou Motion, not really. Not tonight, but come to Nevermind the Furthermore tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central, #always promote, and bring your promotion to that show because it's the very last show of Nevermind the Furthermore for 2020. And here we go. Oh, here we go. Just signed up for Cindy's newsletter. Don't make me regret this, Brian. Ryan Permisson, you're gonna thank me, brother. You're gonna thank me. It is great. And here, oh my God, here we go. Joe Dog McKeel says, Brian just got the name for the Sanderstein sequel, Cupidcula.
Try it again. Cupidcula.
Okay, there we go. And Rick Bradley says, if we have a Cathy Con, I'll be there. I'm just down the interstate. There we go. And let's see. And responding, and yes, we are behind as usual, responding to Matthew's cough. Good golly, I mean, bless you, Matthew. Cindy has an excellent question.
Uh-oh.
I like that. Did you pick up new skills in 2020?
Yes, I did.
What skills were those, McKayla?
I learned that I suck at the first draft. So I learned editing. But I learned, and I'm always learning. That's the thing is I'm always learning. But this year in particular, I've really caught myself before I send it to the editor or my critique partner, because she's really good at kicking my ass.
Awesome.
It's amazing because she'll come back and she'll be like, really? You wrote this? You're a better writer than this. And I was like, oh, well, but I am. So, she's really good at pointing out stuff. And so now I'm a better editor as far as I catch it before I send it to her. And I'll see it, and it'll just make my eye twitch and go, I wrote that? Okay, let me fix it.
I can relate. Donna, how about you? Have you learned anything? Any skills have you picked up? What skills have you picked up in this catastrophic year?
That I can mention on air?
Well, this show is rated not for children, so.
Well,
okay.
That changes everything, doesn't it, kids?
Not so much that I learned this skill this past year, but my latest Dragons and Wizards is 20 years in the making. It started about 20 years ago as a collaboration with a young man who was really into Dragons and Dungeons. He was supposed to write all the Dragons part, and then he dropped off the edge of the world. I don't know what happened to him. And I was talking with someone about this is a really good story. It's got a lot of it written, and I wish that I wished it could be finished. And my friend's like, "You're a writer. Why don't you just fucking finish it yourself?" And I'm like, "I don't know anything about dragons." And he says, "It's your story. It's your world. Do whatever the hell you want." And I'm like, "Well," and he says, "Well, that's what you do with your other books, isn't it?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah." And so fortunately, the Dungeons and Dragons monster things are all online now. And I went and I'm like, "No, I don't want my dragon to do that. I want him to do this." And so that's what I did. So I learned that I can be the master of a world that's not really my own and make it my world. Mm-hmm. So I would say that's probably my new skill.
Nice.
And I learned how to write a horror story. It was only 2 pages long. And Amy asked if I would write another one, and I said, "Oh hell, well, for you, yeah, I would." So, yeah, I guess that's a new skill.
Very good. Very good indeed. Cathy, how about you? Or Matthew? Let's open it up to you, Matthew. I don't mean to ignore you.
Yeah, Matthew, let's hear your hands.
A new skill?
New skill.
Mentionable skill.
Good night, everyone.
Quick, put your camera up.
How many kids again?
I don't know if it's a new skill, but this year, 2020, has taught me in the writing field that it's okay not to write. I know, right? Right? You're a writer. That's what you do. You write. Mm-hmm. But this year has taught me that it's okay to kind of hang back and let things sort of marinate a little bit. I was like, use the word marinate a little more in the mind. Kind of let it hang out there a little bit longer.
Yes.
And not necessarily be in so much of a hurry to put it down on page, right? To type it, right? And just kind of let it hang out there a little bit more, because sometimes when instead of just putting it all out, it all just kind of sits there and just kind of stews or marinates. It adds a richness and another layer to the story that wouldn't be there if the thought process was just put out. So that's kind of a new skill. I'm counting it as a new skill for me, because I've always been so much of a hurry to put something out that I've not really given a lot of thought to it. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense, because you do think through things. It does. But it's another layer of the thought process that I probably wouldn't have acquired had we not gone through 2020 the way we did.
Very good.
So it's a good thing.
That's good. That's very good. Matthew, how about you? One more chance. Or you can pass.
Do you need me to repeat the question?
No, I don't.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. I learned I can write a readable first draft
Awesome.
because I'm doing it now on my Patreon page. It was a challenge. You know, Cathy, you talked about giving yourself challenges. Well, mine was I wanted to serialize a book on my Patreon page. www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris, all one word, lowercase. But no, because my first draft, like everyone's, stunk to high heaven. But I thought, what if I wrote? Well, actually, what it was I'm a huge fan of Todd Rundgren, the musician Todd Rundgren, and one of the people he worked with marveled in that Rundgren, who was also an engineer and producer, would make sure that the sound that left the studio was as sweet as it could be, whereas other groups would just say, okay, let's just get it recorded, we'll let somebody else mix it and make it sound great. Instead, Rundgren said, let's not leave the studio till it does, and then there's less, we have more control. And I thought, well, why don't I try to write a decent first draft? And that's what I'm doing. It's a flash novel, which again, I'm a outliner. And this one, I didn't know till about 4 chapters out where I wanted the story to end. And now I'm working towards that goal, and I've rewritten the paths to get there 5 times in the last week. But I can write a passable first draft, and I'm very proud that I can I can develop that discipline. So
you should be. That's awesome.
Congratulations, you definitely.
You. Yeah, and it's being done in a timely manner too. So it's we may have found a new process here. Dave Woodrum, good to see you. I haven't talked to you in ages. Carl Witzman says next video, McKayla in the truck.
It may just happen.
And Rick Bradley has a great question here. Were there any big panic moments this year, and how did you power through them?
For me, it wasn't a huge panic, but it was like a time crunch because my first book, Warrior Secret, was with a publisher, and the editor never communicated with me. I always had to reach out first, and it got down to the wire, and I was like, wait a minute, it's been almost a year. Are we even going to publish this thing? And had I not pushed, I don't think we would have. And I think that would have made them break contract, which hindsight, I should have let happen. But yeah, it was one of those, hey, is this ever going to happen? So that was probably my only panic moment.
Yeah. Cathy, Donna, did you have one this year?
I am not a panic person. I am the person you want with you when something happens. I never panic. I think it's because of my childhood and growing up, never knowing if my father was going to be home or even alive when I got off the school bus. So grew up with that. Hey, life goes on. You do what you have to do to go through this crisis, and then you just, as I said before, you keep on keeping on. So panic just doesn't happen to me anymore.
Yeah. Cathy, did you have a unsettling moment this year, or?
Don't think so.
I don't think I'm kind of with Donna. Wow, Donna, right? Donna.
Yes.
I'm with Donna. You kind of just take in the moment, reevaluate, adjust, and
course correction as you go.
Yeah, course correction, and you just keep on. You just reevaluate, and you just go with what you have to go with at the moment.
Yeah.
And whatever that is just what it is. We've been watching a lot of Chopped lately on the Food Network, and the last 5 seconds, everybody's like, "You got to get it on the plate. You got make sure you have all 4 ingredients. You gotta go." And it's like, you hear the music go, and everybody's standing up in their chair or standing up on their chairs, or sometimes even on their chairs, and they're just freaking out. And I'm just sitting back there on the couch, sitting next to Matt, going, "They just need to relax." just need to relax. It is what it is, man, and it's gonna happen or it's not gonna happen. And thanks for the reminder to get everything done, but y'all just need to relax. And that's kind of my mantra. If it's something big, right? A broken bone, there's blood splurting from a wound, right? Somebody's been seriously injured, then I'll panic. I'll think about panicking, but other than that, I don't think I'm good. So I'm kind of like Donna in that respect. I'm like,
You got to do what you got to do.
Right?
Fall apart afterwards, but do what you got to do to get it through.
And then later you process it.
Right? Yeah. That was my year when when the shows are stopping, and I'm trying to think of I usually have a plan B. I don't go into it without a plan A and B. And I thought, well, I've got this show. I'll just and just one day I said, okay, listen, here's a sale I'm having. And it turned out very well for me, and concentrating more on my online sales, and my Amazon sales have improved. Yay. So, it kind of worked out for me, and we'll try to get you to bed at a decent hour, Matthew. It's okay. And Dave Woodrum. There we go. Dave Woodrum has a statement. I've been mostly resting on my laurels for the last month, and if I don't get off my laurels soon, Fishwife Games is going to be in the poorhouse. Dave, whatever we can do to help you get that going again, man, because you've got a lot of great games. And in fact, Fishwife Games has a lot of lists that will actually help a lot of writers. So please do a search for Fishwife Games, if you would, please. And Molly Daniels, good to see you there. And you too, Pops Van Zandt. And author Cathy Jackson, I'm so glad you're here. The voice of reason. And Rick What? What? She's over going, Brian's being a jerk again. Anyway, this is my last appearance on his show.
For 2020.
For 2020, yeah. I'm still stuck on this year. And I'll probably be saying 2020 2 years from now. But Dave is getting an offer of help from Rick Bradley. See, that's what this is about. This is all right. And there's nothing wrong, says Nick Tockard, with working with a backlog of existing stories. 2021 will be a huge time to publish.
Exactly.
Yes,
Exactly.
So my editor, get your ass to work.
And I know your editor is watching. He says that he's 8 seconds, he can hear your laughter 8 seconds ahead of when it comes on his screen. Anyway, yes, marble racing is a trip. If we've learned nothing from 2020, marble racing is where it's at. And here we go. Carl Wilson says, sometimes Donna and I will challenge each other to write something, especially something odd or outre. So, yeah.
The fun of being married to another writer is when you go out and you're sitting in a restaurant, and swear to God, this actually happened. We're sitting in a restaurant and these people come in, and one person comes in carrying the briefcase. They sit down at the same table. He leaves. And the other one doesn't leave for like 10 or 15 minutes, and then he's got the briefcase. And of course, my crime drama is going, okay, there's my spy story. Mm-hmm. Or you're in the mall and both of you are making up conversations going back and forth. That's what these people are talking about. So it's finding a fellow writer to fall in love with and marry was one of the best things that ever happened to me.
That's awesome.
That is beautiful. And Dave Woodrum has a whole bunch of stuff there about his October sabbatical. And Dave Woodrum, we need to talk. We need to get the fire back in your belly, buddy. Let's see here. And Anakin is no longer here. Anyway,
Anakin has left
he has left the building. Yes. Let's see.
He had a starfighter to fly.
Yeah, he did. He was He's a backup pilot for the Mandalorian or something like that. So, and hello, Heather Ellen. Please check out her show at. Everybody knows Helen, yeah. And hello from the YouTube channel. Thank you for watching us there. And here we go. Yes, and we got rid of Hugh too. And here we go. Jake Lindsay. Now, when the conventions start up, what are your plans for them? Do you have anything special you are going to do?
Go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good night, everyone. Oh no.
I think it's where you hang out with your friends. I think. I don't know. These mythical things.
Yeah.
I will tell you this. You said McKayla and Donna, you had never been to a convention as an author.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes.
No.
Okay. You're gonna find something. You may find something that I never expected to find, and this was it. So when I first thought about going to conventions, I thought, I don't want to go to a convention. I could stay at home. Why would I want to do this? Right. So the first several conventions I went to, I kind of hung back a lot, and I was trying to figure out, and I was actually kind of upset because I wanted to be home writing, and I had to be at this convention, these conventions. And I thought, man, why am I here? Why am I here? And I, after a while, I started going to I found that the conventions I was going to started going with the same regular people, right? And those people that you find yourself kind of in the same circle with ish on most conventions, those are such inspiring people. Those people you miss being around, because you can hang around with them for an entire day or weekend or 2 days or how long the convention goes on. And there is nothing like having another writer, another artist, even if it's a comic book or even somebody who sketches next to you doing their thing, because it's I'm going to use the term, this sort of energy that they give off. Kind of you feed off that, and it inspires you. So it's just kind of synergy. It's this synergy, right, that you really can't get any other way. So even conventions that I've gone to that are just busy the entire weekend, all the way down to conventions that were completely dead, it really didn't matter, because each time I came home so inspired to get back writing because of the synergy. It's that, it feeds from creative to creative to creative. I mean, even Brad Moore. I've been around hanging around Brad Moore. If you don't know who he is, learn about Brad Moore. He's amazing, right? And even Brad Moore, who isn't a writer, but what he does is just so far out there, right? Even I've got one of his artworks hanging in our prints hanging in our living room. That's just, you walk by it and it's just so detailed and in depth, and he's taken the time and the energy and the thought, and it's just inspiring, and you feed off that, and you come home and you're like, okay, I'm ready to write another book or 3 books or 4 books, right? And that's that you can't get that same energy from anywhere else. And this year we've missed it. I've missed it so bad, because I don't do a ton of conventions, but I do some, and it's nice to come home and have that sort of renewed energy to get back into things, right? And I desperately miss that, just that kind of refueling from other authors and other creatives. And you'll find when you start going to conventions that you'll find that same sort of synergy, that energy that you'll get from the creatives that you're only able to get around other creatives themselves.
Right. And that's kind of where I did not a book signing, but a writer convention, a writer get together where you could learn from all these different classes that were taking place. And it was because you're all together and you're all trying to do the same thing and improve your craft. There's an energy there. And that's kind of where I've tried to help some of my friends that struggle with the whole social media stuff. You're only going to see on social media what you want to see. You don't want to see it, you get rid of it. And that it will bring you down. You know, if your feed's full of negative stuff, it'll bring you down. Just like I can imagine at cons, it would be the same way. You know, it's one of those. Yeah, surround yourself with the people that really inspire you.
Everyone ought to go to those writing seminars at least once.
Yes.
But, gee, now I'm kind of feeling that. I'm hoping SilCon is going to be on this year. 2 years ago, this hat I ordered specifically made for me from Heathen Haberdashery. Wanted to go last year to show her that how it looked in person, and of course it was canceled. And that's the con I'm looking forward to going back to.
Yeah.
So she can see the hat in person, and maybe talk to the paranormal people again. I was interviewed on one of the paranormal about my interactions with my personal ancestor, who's hanging around me all the time, and trying to get back together with those people.
Yeah.
Too, as well as seeing Brian again, and a couple of the other people that we met there whose name's not coming to my mind because I got a colander for a memory. But I'm hoping some of the others can be. I would like to go to the one in Missouri, especially after hearing what the con is for the kids and such.
Yeah.
I'm a big St. Jude's contributor, supporter, because St. Jude's helped my family. So I have a personal connection. They helped a cousin learn, basically walk again.
That's awesome.
And kept her alive for several years that she probably wouldn't have. And it wasn't cancer, it was a muscular problem, but St. Jude's helped, and they did exactly like they do say in the ads. So I'm looking forward to hopefully going to that con too.
Oh yeah. No, that's a good point. That was one of the great things about McKayla Con. That we were reminded of people we missed.
Mm-hmm.
Like Cathy and Matt and Amy and John, and on and on. And it was good to get together, just to have that synergy, just for a little while. We weren't together all that long, but man, we were
right. But it was enough, and we all went home with fired up to do it again.
Oh yeah. And that's why we were kind of disappointed when we couldn't have SarahCon and have a traveling convention. But I'm thinking in 2021 we gotta work to make this happen. And we got to go to Southern Illinois and get friends down there too. So because we miss you guys, we really do. So, but hopefully some of these shows will come together like Heroes, Heroes for Kids.
Yep.
Where a number of us were. That was, I think my favorite time of the whole thing the first time was hanging out at dinner with, all the writer people, Lacey Lemke and you guys and Amy and John and everybody, all the usual suspects. So,
right. Well, and I want to put out there too, as a new person into the group, I hear you guys talk about all the fun that you had at these cons and these book signings and such, and it's like, I'm the new kid, and you guys just wrapped your arms around me and were like, come on in, it's okay, come on in. And really, because like I when I went to my first author book signing, I got some of that from some of the authors, but a lot of them were just like, here, buy my book.
Mm-hmm.
Are you kidding? Okay, I'll buy your book, but I've got a limited budget. I'm going to buy it from the authors who talk to me, make me feel important. So that, I think, kind of gave me a leg up in the whole, I guess, selling, I guess you could say. Because, I don't want the reader that I'm just going to sell a book to and they're going to forget me. I want the reader that comes back and goes, when's your next book out? Where's your next book? Are you writing a next book? Yeah, I think that's the thing that I'm, I guess, jonesing for. Like, let's get together so we can meet more people. And there's got to be people out there that haven't seen us online
Right.
Mhm.
Exactly.
somewhere.
Yeah. Well, McKayla, I just got a notice for Peoria Con, just to let you know. So
Did you really?
yeah, for October though. They've moved it back to October.
That's deer hunting season.
That's not my fault.
You know,
You know,
I can take one day off, I guess.
I guess. Bring your gun. Let's shoot some people in the show.
well,
Just throw in the freezer. It's no big deal. You know, we
There
don't
you
need to
go.
fill the freezer.
Yeah.
one thing I hadn't realized. I mean, it's been back in my head. I think I'm only now just thought of is that you talk about those readers who come back and say, okay, what's your next book? What's your next book? What's your next book? Right? Whether we go to whether it was SalukieCon in Carbondale or BirdCon in Harrisburg, there's a older woman who has 4 or 5 sons, and every year we've been there, they'd come to the table asking Cathy what's her next book, and her boys buy her those
Oh,
books for her birthday.
oh, that's
Every
awesome.
year, every event we go to, it's like, okay, I bought this one, so what's the next one? This is the next one. This is the next
Yeah.
one, and they buy them for her birthday. That's their birthday present.
Which is why it's so important
and
for us as authors to keep creating.
yeah,
Because at some point that gate's going to be open,
and
those conventions are going to start. And the readers who do know us, probably from
Yeah.
online lives or whatever else, or interacting with us on our pages or groups or whatever, they're going to come back and they're going to be like, I've seen you, I've kept up with you,
Mhm.
I know what you've been doing, and all these books that I don't have, I need them now.
right.
Right. So
And
we
it-
need to keep creating. We need to keep putting books out there, because even though we can't go to conventions right now, when those
Yeah.
gates open, they're going to be ready. They're going to be so ready.
And-
And we're going to be so ready to give them exactly what they're ready for, because us giving to them, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful little relationship that works out so well.
And one of the things I was just thinking about is that this year both those events were canceled,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so that family, that one reader, her family didn't have a chance to come see Cathy and get the next books that they would now missed out on.
And what makes me sad is the fact that that's her birthday present.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not the chance to sell a book, but the fact that it's a special thing between her and her sons.
And it's a connection that we can make with them.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that event again, either of those events where, they can come and see you and get your books, because it's just that next thing is that special connection.
Yeah.
I guess that. Hi, Willow Schuyler. You're worth waiting for.
Hi,
It's okay
Willow.
to be- Yeah. Everybody knows Willow.
Raspberry lady.
Yeah, she's got a show on Friday nights that you need to catch. You can get on the pillow with Willow. And
Brian and I've been there.
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Together.
we did a show. That was a lot of fun. We love her. Molly Daniels is home. That's good. And let's see, everyone, and Molly, hello, darling. Anyway, Molly's hello, and Molly was at McKayla Con too. That's right.
Yep.
She's the last minute attendee. And here we go. Nick Tockard asks, "How are author conventions different from gaming conventions?" Now,
This
I've
one's
had
on you
experience
guys.
of both, so
Yeah.
Author conventions versus gaming conventions. Well, in one, you've got all the creatives and all of those who aficionados and those who appreciate those arts gather around. They talk about the subject matters. They talk about the works, right? And they try to have a little fun with them and play a little bit and socialize and maybe even sell some of the works.
Yeah.
And the other's just fun.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer. I tend to think that author conventions are different in that authors are kind of an afterthought to the attendees.
They're
there to roll dice and to play games. Whereas when people come into author conventions, they're there to check you out, whether you write in their genre or not, and like PenCon, I love PenCon because of the variety of people I can meet down there. Not just authors, but also the dedicated fans who, by the way, Nick, a lot of these, and McKayla and Cathy will verify this. There are people that wander the sales floor with those little red wagons, and they have a contest every year to see who can fill those the fastest.
Yep.
Oh, that's nothing. When I went down to see you guys down at PenCon, my daughter and I stayed the weekend. We decided we're going to do the weekend. We're going to hang out.
Right.
I saw girls with those wagons, not only with those wagons. When we went to lunch, there was a girl with the trunk of her car full, and she was complaining to her friend that her car might not make it home because it was so full of books. And she hadn't even got her pre-orders yet. I'm like, can you be my fan, please?
Yeah.
I write books.
Yeah.
So they plan it out ahead of time, and they're there for books.
Yeah, they're there for books or to talk to their favorite authors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
And it's always fun to kind of watch those readers, whether they come to Cathy's tables or not. It's like you see them, and they'll have their dolly or their wagon or whatever they're toting their stuff around with, right? They've even got it all priced out. They already know which books they're there to get, or which authors they're there to see and speak to. Right. And then they'll catch somebody who like, I didn't know you were going to be here, or wow, that even sounds better than the book I was going to get. So let me rethink my budget, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool just to be in that environment.
Yeah. And also I find that like other types of shows, like I do comic book conventions, I do horror conventions. I've done some gaming conventions. The vibe is different because, like Cathy was saying, the vibe in there is so different. Whereas I find a lot of the other shows can be very draining to me. I'm dragging at the end of the evening, because you're, I guess you get a better type of rebuff at author shows than you do, say, at a gaming convention or a horror con. That everybody's there to read. And and the thing is, PenCon has a significantly smaller attendance, customer attendance rate than say a lot of like a C2E2 or a Wizard World or in like a major show, Dragon Con or whatever have you, whatever. But they are there to buy. They are there to talk. They are there to interact. They are there to share the love of what you do, whether you do it in their genre or not. So it's a whole different experience. It is a whole different experience. And I find myself energized by the time I leave the show.
That's kind of what Cathy was describing. Yeah. In the gaming conventions or the other ones, it's like you're pushing and you're giving and you're pushing and you're giving. And the other night you're like, well, I'm glad this is over with. Where at author conventions or readers conventions, it's like it's a give and take. So that energy is shared, right? And it just inspires you to do more.
Yeah. I mean, Eclipse Con, what did Nathan Bonner end up naming it?
That was Eclipse Con.
Yeah.
Yeah. He renamed it to something else.
SalukiCon.
So thank you. SalukiCon is sort of that gaming, RPG, and vendors.
General pop culture
stuff. And I love coming back from SalukiCon because you do get those panels, right, of authors talking or different other panels. And the whole vibe in it collectively is just, it's inspiring. It really is. And the creativity just flows, just like keeps flowing. And that's amazing. It's an amazing energy.
Yeah, definitely. And Nick Tucker continues, also, do any of this motley crew of authors have preferred tools of the trade, like ergonomic keyboards or preferred word processors? I can't say I do, but do any of you have something special you use?
And Carl laughs at me every time. My purple pen and
your purple notebook.
My my papers.
Yeah.
Purple pen. Gotta have a
Yeah.
Everything is written down old-fashioned
Yep.
to begin with.
Yep. I was gonna say I'm old school. I start everything with a pen and paper, and then I use Word because I can. It would be the same if I had to use Google Docs or I don't care what it is as long as it does what I need it to do.
Exactly. But yeah, I get it all down written first. Then I might print out something, but I print it out with lines between it in case I want to put something in.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's written down first. I don't care what you say, Carl. Use your computer.
Yeah. Well, at least it gets the job done,
Yeah. Whatever works.
And I can carry it with me anywhere. When I was on jury duty, I had my little notepad and my pen with me.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Very good. Cathy, do you have anything special you use?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Her laptop,
Just the laptop.
her scarf,
Same here.
Richie blanket.
Same here. And let's see. Here we go. Molly Daniels says, that's what I did when I went to Romantic Times in 2012. I knew which authors I wanted to see and what books I was going to buy. Fortunately, I had the extra funds for the impulse buys. I have a problem with impulse control, too. The highlight of that trip was author Desiree Holt, who had 50-plus books written, exclaiming she was so happy to see me with my then lowly 2 books published.
Yay, Molly.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful feeling. Well, it's like, you talk about the vibe also. I remember the first year I went to PandaCon in St. Louis, and Amy Hale arranged for me to get a pass to go onto the sales floor and all. And I was just so jazzed from taking notes at the panels and just walking around and just taking in the feel of the place that I just, I could have taken a bicycle to and from the place and pedaled home and probably made it the same amount of time as the car. So, but the highlight for me that trip was Kenny Sills came in the next day, and so he's like, his jaw's dragging the floor just like mine was the day before, and I'm like, come on, Kenny, they're not being professional, come on. I'm trying to show him I'm Joey Iceberg here or something.
Yeah.
So now Bill Sarton says, now let's make believe that we're at a convention and I don't know you or your work. Give me your best 30-second elevator pitch of your latest book. Who wants to go first?
Cathy, you're the pro. Go first.
Go. And Cathy's elevator.
I gotta get the book first. I gotta get the book.
Okay, we'll time you when you're ready. I've got a clock here. So, tell me.
Don't just read the back.
I was trying to remember what the book was about. It's actually kind of funny. Let me tell you why. Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Because I've got the 4 books I'm going to publish this year swirling in here.
Right.
And then I've got 2 or 3 books that I've yet to write.
I'm sorry.
Swirling in here.
My fault.
Okay. So, yeah, you're right. It's kind of funny. After you write so many books, you're like, oh, well, that's a good book.
Who wrote this?
Who wrote this thing with my name on it? Yeah, I get that. I get that.
It's funny. It's just so funny. I'm like, what's this book about again?
Oh, see, guys, did you knock out your Cathy, Matt? Did you knock your microphone or something? Because you're kind
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah.
I ended up putting us on our Wi-Fi network. We froze. We did for like 5 minutes.
Okay, that makes sense.
Y'all were having 2 conversations, and we're froze like this.
I have no idea what to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Okay, so anyway.
We're good now.
Yeah, exactly. We haven't froze yet, we haven't froze yet. So, Cathy, are you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that enthusiasm. Keep that fire burning, girl.
This book, it's good. Read it.
Okay, Bill. I hope that gets you go run Amazon.com/author/Cathy Jackson. You want to try it again?
Would you like me to try it? Yeah, you
Okay, here we go. We're going to give you a countdown. You ready? Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Written on his heart is a gender flip inspired David and Bathsheba story where a young single woman finds herself attracted to the pastor of local church by watching him bathe through his bathroom window.
With 15 seconds to spare, Matthew Jackson, way to go. Well done, young man. Well done. Okay. All right. Who's next? McKayla or Donna?
I can go. Yeah, I'll go next.
Go for it.
Okay. All right. So my newest one is I don't have books yet. It's so new. So Warriors Trust is the continuation of the story of Hawk and Cassidy. So if you fell in love with them, you'll love continuing their journey into a new realm with new characters, but the same, I guess, love story. See, I don't have it, man.
I gave Glenn.
Yeah, I got nothing, guys.
Okay, we will work on your.
Yeah, we gotta work on that.
I will work on that with you. So,
Okay.
Donna, you ready?
Okay.
Okay, go whenever you're ready.
Warriors and damn, that's
Okay, here we go. Take 2.
okay. Ready.
Right, go.
Dragons and Wizards. Teach Rider is a unique, peace-loving red dragon with an eye for the human wenches. Rhiannon was the daughter of a whore, and she served only food and drink. When they meet, sparks fly, but can they fight for eternity? And what is the secret of Rhianna's paternity?
Nice. 5 seconds to spare. Very well done. Very well done, Don. And an honorable mention to McKayla. So
Yeah,
and
Kayla
that's
has to work on that.
You try.
Yeah.
That's right. You get a participation award. Now, my work in progress. I'd like to remind everybody to show you how much preparation I've done on my elevator pitch. I'm the host. So Willow Schuyler has a question. When you travel to a new city, yeah, Cathy, I'm cheating. When you travel to a new city or a convention, do you try to learn the city's history or at least take the time to visit any of the historical sites for research purposes? I have done that. I have done that on occasion, especially when I go to a not major city, to be honest. I like looking up to see what the background of the history of the municipality. How about the rest of you? Do you do that?
Carl will tell you that you do not want to go to these places with 2 writers whose specialty is murder.
Yeah, probably not.
The Amway Building Convention Center, rather, in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Beautiful lobby, fountain in the middle, great statue with a spear, and it's surrounded by a wrought iron fence. My friend and I are on the second balcony going, how far do you think you'd have to push somebody to land on that spear? If they just fell, would they fall on those spikes, or would you have to get a running start? And I look up, and Carl's like 10 feet down the balcony away from us, because he says he figures when the cops come, somebody's going to have to be available to bail us out.
That's true.
So I've got little notions of when I don't visit for that purpose, but if I see it there, yeah, it starts the things of running, and it might show up later, it might not, but you kind of got to watch out for what you say in public. I almost got in trouble at Kmart one time. because a friend and I were talking, and I said, I can't remember what I did with the body, if it's under the back porch or just in the backyard. And fortunately, I was dating the head of security at the time, because I look up and I see him coming with this grin on his face. And he says, "You're talking about one of your stories, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Are you watching me from up, one of those little things up there?" And he says, "No, there's an elderly lady at the help desk who turned you in because you were talking about where you hid the body." Like, oh, good, good thing you realized that I was in the store, wasn't it?
Oh my God.
So can I get her address so I can give her an answer?
Yeah, and then the book that's going to be coming out in June, I had to learn how long it needs to thaw out a body before autopsy.
Oh.
And we're at the Champaign Library, and I'm looking and looking, and I can't find anything. And Carl comes over and says, "Well, how's it going?" And without thinking, I said, still have no idea how long it's going to be before I can cut into the body, when it's frozen.
Oh,
And we hear this scrambling noise. And I look down, and at the end of the table, this poor Asian couple is gathering up their books and moving quickly away. And I'm like, "Oh, they heard what I said, didn't they?" So, if you write murder, you got to be careful what you say in public.
Oh my God.
Erotica writers, take note.
Well, that's true.
That's more fun though.
That's true.
Oh, wait,
If people tend to listen in, they don't move away.
yeah, they move closer.
That's how do you make friends in this world? Okay, McKayla or Cathy, Matthew, do you do that kind of research too? And do you frighten people around you like Donna does?
Every time.
Good answer.
I could see that, Matt. I could see that.
Because they can't handle how cool you are.
Exactly.
Well.
I'm the accessory.
Oh yeah.
Well, it depends what you mean about
Learn the city's history.
learn the city's history.
Historical science.
Well,
Research purposes.
we researched the hotels.
We did research.
We did find a really nice hotel that we'd like to visit again. So that's the sort of city's research. History that it was new. It was a new hotel, and it had
It
a
wasn't
chaise
haunted?
bedroom area, so that was nice. And a walk-in shower. So again, does that count?
Sure does. Yes. And folks, you just learned how to turn a little tryst into a trip you can write off on your taxes. Just make it
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
So
Chaise lounge is sturdy.
when we
The
go
shower's
to
nice.
when we go to an event or a convention or anything else like that, overnight, it's we're a fairly young married couple, wait for our kids,
We're fairly young.
Mhm.
right? So
Right.
things tend to. The only thing we're really interested in after the event and visiting friends and having a good time there is just
Especially on the chaise lounge and the walk-in shower. So that's history,
just
right? Remember where the hotel was?
yes.
Where was it? Okay, there you go. There you go, Willow.
Okay, there you go. All right, we are over 2 hours, so then we're going to rush through a
Oh, Brian froze.
couple things here. Willow Schuyler wants to know, would any of you visit the Hemingway Mansion, the home of H.P. Lovecraft, or Edgar Allan Poe's childhood home? Yes, all three.
Yeah, why not?
Why?
Yeah.
Could be fun. Could be
Why
fun.
not?
Yeah, why not?
That'd be
Sounds-
cool. I would love to visit the Winchester House.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, yes. Yes.
Wouldn't
That's
that be
it.
awesome?
Road trip, folks.
Road trip. See, it's
That would
happening.
be so cool.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Totally. I'd like to visit Lizzie Borden's house.
Yeah.
There's one, shoot, I was just watching something on the Travel Channel about there's one in Iowa, the Axe Murder House.
Yes, yes.
And I thought, Iowa's just right there. I could go right there.
There's some shows in Iowa. We can all talk. We got an excuse. It's a little side trip, you know. And Rick Bradley, tying into what Donna said, sorry I'm covering you ladies up, said, read an article about how one of the writers for a game called Fallout 3 was visiting Washington, D.C., and the setting is a wasteland. He asked his wife how the Washington Monument would look blown up, and a security guard then followed them around. Thank you, Rick Bradley. And let's. So yeah,
with the charges.
Yeah. Exactly. I would put them in a place where on the opposite side of where the wind tends to blow, because the building does sway about 2 inches in any direction because of the wind. It is. Actually, one of the most frightening, real quick, one of the most frightening trips I ever made was when I lived out in the Washington, D.C. area. And we were riding, my dad and I were riding up in the elevator to get to the top of the Washington Monument. And it was giving us the history of the monument and the fact that it, and it pointed out, and the very mannered recording was talking about, well, the building will sway about 2 inches in any direction, depending on the wind, but it is completely safe, and you have nothing to worry about.
Nice.
And we're all in this little cage going,
yeah, keep dreaming.
Yeah, it's like, I can never say I never panicked. Me and about 24 other grown men. But and Cindy Cap wants to know, what do farmers give their wives at midnight and New Year's Eve? Hugs and kisses.
Kisses. Yep.
I love it. That's funny. And Molly Dan says, yes, I've observed other patrons at the coffee shop either shooting nasty looks my way, or suddenly everyone around us suddenly do a mass exodus. And I'm thinking of Cathy and Matthew. Remember the Huddle House in Normal? During Eclipse Con.
First of all, to name a town Normal, let's just start right there.
Or not Normal, excuse me, Marion.
Okay, that's different.
Yes, we were talking, our little writer clutch, and we were loud, we were boisterous, we were just having a good time. And I kept looking back and noticing that the customers were kind of pressing themselves up against the far wall. And I was convinced that when we went back the next year, all of our pictures would be hanging over the cash register, just in case we showed up again. And Rick Bradley observes that Matt is the trophy husband for the famous author Cathy Jackson.
You know what? You work hard to maintain that status, don't you, sweetie?
I do work hard. How hard it is to maintain all of this.
That's right. Oh, God.
I have to look good, so you look good.
Oh, Lord.
So cute. Anyway, this is what's like following me and Cookie. But anyway, Jeffrey, it's glad you were here, brother. Thank you for showing up. And we have gone about 2.25 hours. So I'm going to ask my last question, and I'd like to go around. Oh, here we go. Do these tactics work at a Dollar General social distancing? Here I come.
Yes, they do. Yeah,
they do, Dave. They do, Dave. And so I think you're well trained for that sort of thing. My last question is, what would you advise creative people to do right now in the
create?
Okay, good night, everyone. No, yeah, I guess we got. Do I still have that? I still. Oh yes, Matthew. I still.
Oh no.
I did not say procreate.
A different word.
The collective hearing I've got. So, but last time they were on
creatives.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Duh, Brian. But anyway, what would you advise other than what I just told? What would you tell somebody right now to do right now to prepare for a better 2021?
Network with somebody that you admire or that's doing something you want to do. Network with them.
Very good. Very good.
Build a rapport with people around you, be it authors or readers, editors, bloggers, build a rapport with people and get to know people's names and faces so that when you do get out in 2021, I'm terrible with, I'm great with names, terrible with faces. So and he's just the opposite. But get to know people that normally interact with you on your sites, your pages or whatever, and then get to know people that you want to be more like, right? Because those people are going to take you to where you need to be and inspire you. And then you get to learn from people from who are authors, readers, bloggers, editors, and you get to learn from them. And that whole process just it feeds on itself. Definitely do that.
Definitely. Very good, Cathy. Thank you. Donna, what's your answer?
I have two pieces of advice. One is just don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to do your creation. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. And my second piece of advice is if you have a naysayer in your life, tell them to screw off because you can do it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I think we've come to the end of the show, and thanks y'all from Trevor Hawkins, and Willow Schuyler says y'all are amazing. Thanks for answering my questions. Excellent. And I want to thank everyone for having such great questions and the great conversations that we didn't put on the screen. Unfortunately, you could be a show unto yourselves. Sure. Maybe that's what we'll do. I'll just go out for pizza and we'll just have you
guys. There you go.
Yeah, I'm pretty superfluous. And Willow Schuyler says, I look forward to chatting with you all more in the coming months. Well, Willow, you're one of the joys of my existence, and I appreciate you, and I hope we all get to know you a little better, too. And Cindy Kep says, thanks for hosting the adventure. Y'all done good. So did you, Cindy Kep, CKOEPB.com. Sign up for that newsletter of hers because she's awesome. Yeah, we love her. And there we go. And to the naysayers, that's right.
That's right.
Hashtag fueled by spite. So anyway, we're going to go around the room one more time. And again, thank you all for being here. Thank you so much. You know I appreciate you guys and gals so much. And I'm going to go around the room. We'll start with Cathy, and then we'll go to Donna, then McKayla. And please tell everyone how they can stay in touch with you, because God knows after tonight they will desperately crave to do so. So anyway, please, we'll start with Cathy and Matthew. How can people keep track of the amazing things you do?
Cathy Jackson, author on Facebook. I also have a book page that's open to any creative, and that's Cathy Jackson's Books on Facebook. I am on Instagram, BookBub, Twitter. My books are available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, pretty much wherever you like to buy your favorite book, iTunes, anywhere else. So check me out there. I write uplifting, encouraging romance from pretty much all genres now.
You're awesome. Matthew, and Matthew does book design and such. You want to tell people how they can enlist your services?
Mad Celt Designs on Facebook. Or email me at madceltdesigns@gmail.com.
Excellent. Thank you both very much. And hang around because, of course, we'll have the after show here, and I want to say goodbye to you properly. And now, Donna Karlee Karleen, how can people follow you?
My personal page, Donna Karlee Karleen on Facebook. Books are available on Lulu.com. My historical romance, The Seduction of Lily Monroe, and my fantasy, Dragons and Wizards, are available both on Lulu and Barnes & Noble. And I can be reached at Karlee, S as in sugar, M as in me, at yahoo.com.
Very, very good. Excellent. Thank you, Donna. And now, McKayla Jade.
Hello. Most of the time you can find me on Facebook. Track me down there, or my email is McKayla.jade1981@gmail.com.
Excellent. And you've got a new book out, right?
I do. Look at this sucker. This is so cool. Yes, it's out today on Amazon.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. Appreciate it very much. And again, much love to you all. And let's see if I can work this correctly so I can get me on the screen. There we go. And again, thank you very much. Like I said, I'm going to take over the screen. I've got a little list of thank yous I've got to do real fast. And we'll talk after the show. So please hold on. All right. Thank you all again. And
thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Donna. Anyway, just real quick, thank you again to everyone who's watching live, and especially everyone who's watching on the reruns, because you made a really special effort to catch us on the flip-flop here. And thanks to all of our listeners on iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and Spotify. Thank you to Geek Insider and Meredith Logren for letting us hang out with you all. And appreciate y'all greatly. And thank you to Plasma Fire Graphics when the look of your book matters to you. Jeffrey Hayes, you're awesome. And want to thank a lot of people. This is the final show of 2020 for Clever Title Pending. Around mid-April, we decided to change the format of the show to an interview show. And thank you to everyone that's responded so favorably to the change. And thank you to everyone who's appeared on the show. And I hope I don't miss anyone. So I'm reading out my little book here. Jackie Nelson, thank you very much. Luke Stone, Bill Raup, Ken Keller, Teresa Dunn, Rick Bradley, Cindy Kemp, Charles F. Millhouse, Meredith Logren, Carl Witzman, Ted Davies, Amy Hale, Dave Woodrum, Dan Smith, Cathy Jackson, Matthew Madkelt Jackson, Tyrone Tony Reed Jr., David Atkins, Bobby Nash, T.L. Shively, Rob Anderson, Donna Karlee Karleen, Kajolsha Ona Carol, Eric Hawkins, Jen Thompson, Jason Nugent, Russell Allen, Clayton Merwin, Aaron Casey, Jim Beard, McKayla Jade, Phil Lockler, Brian Wensloff, Ron Fitzgerald, Nicholas Tockert, Brian Robin, Jeremy Woodring, Randy Zimmerman, John C. Bruning, Jeffrey Hayes, Stephen Burks, and thank you to everyone who's appeared on the show. Thank you to everyone who's contributed a question. Thank you to everyone who shared this show with everyone. We genuinely appreciate it, and we promise we're already looking forward to a great slate of guests in 2021. The people who are here, if they're still speaking to me after this, will definitely be asked back, and along with some of your extra favorites. Plus, we've got some new people coming up. Next week, we are going to have Joe McKeel of Stupid O'Clock and Armchair Scientists as our first guest of 2021, 1 week from tonight. We hope you'll tune in for that. He's a great broadcaster, and I'm learning a lot from this guy. He says he's learned from me. I can't imagine what. But anyway, appreciate him coming on, and we're going to have a great time 1 week from tonight. And so everybody, again, much appreciation for all you've done for us during the year, and I promise we will do our best to make it even better in 2021. And as always, please go to risingtide.pub and you can sign up for my free monthly newsletter. It's going to go out New Year's Day, 5 p.m. We've already got the secret links set into place. One is a retrospective of 2020 that you're sure to find interesting, and the other one is some information that I hadn't known, so I thought I'd share it with you guys and gals. And we're also going to have an exclusive video unique only to the newsletter. So if you want to see that video, you got to sign up for it. Risingtide.pub, or if you have Facebook Messenger, please send me your email. I promise you will get no junk mail because of me. We don't share it in any sort of way with anyone else. Also, when you sign up for the newsletter, you're going to get a lot from it. Hopefully motivation, education, and inspiration. If you're watching us on Facebook, on the Rising Tide Publications channel, please, if you've enjoyed any part of the show, please give it a like if you would. Also, please give the page a like, all right? Because it helps us in the algorithms, helps us get found in more searches. Same with YouTube. If you're watching on the Geek Insider page or the Rising Tide Publications page, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel, and please ring that bell so you'll be notified of any future appearances. And I think that's all we've got. So let's vamp while we try to get to where we should be to close the show. All right. And anyway, thank you again for everyone for your support during the year. Thank you for being with us on tonight's show. Hope you got a lot from it. And in closing, just got to say thank you again. And this is Brian K. Morse for Clever Title Penning and Rising Tide Publications saying, stay smart, stay safe, wash your hands, and never apologize for being awesome. It's you are incredibly awesome. Thank you all very much for watching Clever Title Penning. Happy New Year, everyone.
Thank you for tuning in to Clever Title Pending, a Rising Tide Publications and Brian K. Morris production. A member of Comic Book Advocating Network and sponsored by GeekInsider.com. Become part of our show with sponsorship and advertising opportunities. For details, contact advertising at geekinsider.com or visit podcast.geekinsider.com. The Geek Insider podcast is available on your favorite app, so please hit the follow button and share it out to your friends. Because if you don't, you might have to turn in your geek card.